Hello, and welcome to today's edition of Mama's Got Style, how upgrading your look will elevate your business, get you high-paying clients, and increase the fun factor in your life. I'm your host, Allan, and I'll be interviewing today the awesome Victoria Stiles. Hey, Victoria.
Hey, Kara.
How are you doing today?
I'm good. It's been a good week so far. It's been a good year. How about yourself?
Yeah, it's actually 2018 is going to be awesome. I already know. It's already shaping up to be amazing.
Definitely.
Yeah. So tell us all about you and your wonderful business that this really empire you've created.
So, I tell everybody I do hair and makeup, and people think, oh, so you play with hair, you do a little makeup, and maybe take some photos or whatever. And I'm like, sure, that's the deal. But no, that's not exactly it. So I do hair and makeup. I'm based in Washington, D.C. I do work for publications, television, political figures,
Mhm.
visiting celebrities, and I also have a company where I book out freelancers globally, and we do work with more like high profile clients and publications. And
Mhm.
I'm also the head of the hair and makeup department at a television station called EWTN. And I manage the freelance roster there and book out the freelancers for various projects in the studio and also on location for the station.
Wow, so you're just a badass all around.
So
Pretty much.
that's what it's become. So
Right.
oftentimes I get these, well, how did you start? Because they'll see, Victoria Stiles did Glamour magazine, or Victoria Stiles worked with this person. And they'll be like, how did you get into that? Well, I'll tell you. I started working at M.A.C Cosmetics when I was studying communications at George Mason, and this was in the late 90s. I started working there. That was my first touch of anything with makeup. And I remember I had like 4 colors from M.A.C, 4 eyeshadows, and maybe like 2 lipsticks ever in my collection. And I put on everybody. Those are the colors I put on everybody. Those are the colors that I knew. Well,
Right.
that's how it started. It was just, kind of touch and go and experimenting. And that was really the best experience of my life working there, because M.A.C is known for all ages, all sexes, all races.
Right.
So we had everybody coming through the door, and I got to work on all different types of skin colors, skin textures, everything. And
Mhm.
that was the basis for me learning makeup. And then after I was with them for approximately 5 years, I decided to start my own business in 2004, and just doing on-site bridal hair and makeup. And that just grew. And that grew from reputation. And as you know, Kara, is like in this city, especially in Washington, D.C., everybody talks.
Yeah.
So if you mess up, it's bad. But if you do well, it's just great. So the referrals
Right.
started flowing in, and I just started building out my name and spreading even further, and started doing work with visiting celebrities.
Mhm.
Also, those became referrals,
Mhm.
publications, those became referrals, and so on and so forth. And it just, by 2010, I would say that my company grew into more of a global brand.
Mhm. That is so awesome. And I knew we were like spirit animals because I started at M.A.C as well, but as freelance, I didn't work for the company. But again, it's like the best experience ever to work on all faces, all texture, everything. Like you learn so much by not just doing your own face every day. You have no,
Right.
dealing with people who
And
have
so
skin issues.
yeah, I think that's like the biggest difference between actually working with many different types of people versus today's. I'm an Instagram makeup artist.
Right.
Um, I've seen a lot of disasters happen with the Instagram makeup artists,
Hmm.
where they all do makeup on their own face, and they do it beautifully on their own face. But
Right.
then you throw them into a big production. I don't know who the name was, or I can't remember, but I remember this story where it was this, Instagrammer makeup artist of over 100,000 followers, that type of thing. And, they knew makeup on their face, and
Mm.
they want this chance to do makeup for a magazine. And they had to bring in another makeup artist to kind of help clean up the look. Yeah. I don't remember the name, and I wouldn't repeat the name even if I remember. But that's just like some of the stories that I hear,
Mhm.
and I can see that. It's like, and it may just me being a veteran in the art or in the artist industry, just being kind of like an old fogey, like back in my day, da da da, But it's true. It's the times have changed with the internet, with the growth of social media.
Yeah, it's so true. And I mean, everybody wants to be a stylist. Everybody wants to be a makeup artist. Everybody wants to be this, that, and the other. And they don't realize that it's not all glitz and glamour. Yes, there is some glitz and glamour, but there's a lot of hard work that goes into that, the everyday
Oh,
grind of,
how many days have I drug my kit through slush, sleet, freezing rain? I mean, my Zuka kit's pretty durable, but sometimes, but yeah,
yeah.
it's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, and the whole thing. But it's really worth it because in the end, we get to do what we love to do.
Hmm.
But doing what we love to do ends up being only about 30 minutes of the job. The job is basically, it's getting the clients, it's building the reputation, it's maintaining your integrity,
Hmm.
keeping the schedule, billing, accounting, paying your taxes.
Right.
There's so much more that goes into what we do as makeup artists and stylists that
Mhm.
people just don't see. And it's like, oh, you just get to play with makeup all day. I wish.
No. Doesn't kind of work like that. And you get, I don't know about you, but I've had people who want to be interns and they're like, yeah, I want to do da 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 da. And it's like they have no idea the time, the energy, the grinding, the sleepless nights sometimes, and because you're chief cook and bottle washer basically until you can get a team that can work with you, if you go that route too. So it's just a lot of work. And yeah, it's a lot of gratification and there's fun to it too, but man, it is a serious business. It's not just like you said, playing with makeup all day or playing in clothes or dress, no, there's a lot of schlepping around. There's a lot of stuff that people
Well,
just
you have even more to schlep with the wardrobe styling.
yeah.
So,
Yeah, it's something else. And then it's funny because you have like, and no disrespect to anybody who's in Mary Kay or any of the, kind of on demand sales things, but everybody's not a makeup artist. Everybody's not a stylist. Like there's a lot that goes into understanding people and psychology, not just, liking makeup or liking clothes or whatever.
right,
So yeah,
right.
people really need. I think maybe you should do a joint venture of doing a behind the scenes, like have a day where people get to see what we actually do, even on set. But then also like at at your office, all the work that you have to do every day is not just fun and games all day long. I would
Right,
love to be able to do that because people really need to understand what's really going on.
right.
Yeah, for sure. So, how big a part do you think that hair and makeup really play in your overall look and your image?
Just generally for clients, I think hair and makeup is really the icing on the cake. Cake is good on its own, but icing's even better.
Right.
So um, you're really truly pulled together when you have a great outfit, your hair is done, and you have your lipstick on.
Hmm. That's so true. It's not, it's almost like having a picture that's not done if you don't have the hair and the makeup. Like you could be
Right.
dressed like to the nines, but if your hair is just not well done and your makeup is just not, or not having any all on at all,
Right.
it's sort of like an incomplete picture. So,
Correct. Yeah, definitely.
yeah, for sure. So, why do you think style and presentation matter so much when you're a business owner or even if you're just an employee?
First impressions are key.
Hmm.
So if you walk in sloppy, makeup smeared, hair undone, unfortunately, that's not really the great first impression. And that's sort of the downfall, I guess, in our society. It's like we're always quick to judge people based on their looks.
Hmm.
Um, I'll tell you a personal story, and I know you know some of this of me yourself. I used to weigh over 250 pounds, and people responded to me very differently. And I was always told, "Oh, you're so pretty. It doesn't matter that you have the weight. You're still very pretty." Um, But in the end, I didn't feel comfortable with myself. So it was, again, the way I carried myself.
Mhm.
Clothes ended up sort of looking sloppy on me. It was hard for me to find clothes that really looked nice and neat. Um,
Yeah.
and then when I took off all the weight, it's like people just, there was a switch. People
Mm.
responded to me with more respect.
Mm.
I looked cleaner. I felt more confident. So that has a lot to do with it too, is the confidence factor. Um, so if you look good, you feel good, and you
Right.
walk in holding your head high and being a boss and owning the room.
Yeah.
So yeah, it plays a huge part in the way people respond and your overall success, especially as a business owner.
Right. Yeah, and man, kudos to you for that because I'm sure that was like a process. I know just trying to lose like 10 pounds is a lot for me.
Still a process because it's the keeping it off is hard. It
Yeah.
really is because I love food. I've always loved food, and throughout this entire process, I never starved myself. I never stopped eating. It wasn't
Yeah.
anything like that. It was so it's like if you want to eat, you have to work out twice as hard. So it's like
Mm.
finding that time for the gym and getting in there and banging it out.
Yeah. I went to Italy about 6 years ago for a month, and that was the first time where I ever gained weight just from eating a lot. Like that normally never happened to me. It was a weird thing. And I gained like 8 or 9 pounds, which for me, I'm only not even 5 feet. So I don't have that much area to spread it over. Like if you're taller, you have an advantage with that. You could have 10 pounds and it could maybe look like you gained 3. For me, if I put on 5, it looks like 15 almost because it's just like, where does it go? So, and it took me 8 months to lose it. And it was a long process. And I love
Yeah,
food too. Like it's hard. I love my champagne. There's so many things that, especially as
yeah.
you get older, it just doesn't come off like it used to. So, but people do respond to you differently when they, feel like, I don't know, you're not worthy of their respect because whatever reason, I don't know what it is,
In
but
our industry, I think it's twice as hard as well. In our industry, especially like in the fashion beauty world, you know,
mhm.
there's a lot of critical eyes. And
Yeah.
um, have you seen the relaunch of America's Next Top Model? By the way,
I haven't watched it yet, but I did see Tyra Banks on Watch What Happens Live with Nene Leakes this past Sunday, and she was talking about it and how they're having no age limits now. So I
it's
think that's pretty awesome.
interesting, and I think that I love Tyra because she's always the one to think outside the box,
Hmm.
and she's including there's no age limit. She's
Yep.
including all sizes. She's
Yep.
going after personality. It's
Yeah.
really interesting. I actually watched the first episode and I was just like sucked in. So I was like, this is great. This is awesome for the
Mhm.
fashion and beauty industry because we came from like these women who were literally coat hangers walking down the runway, and now we're accepting people with actual healthy weight on them, and I think
Right.
that's definitely a step in the right direction. It's still you don't look sloppy. You're well
Hmm.
dressed.
Right.
Um, More inclusive.
And just
So
let's just say, like the fashion, style, beauty industry, it's very superficial. It doesn't really take account of people's personality per se. It's all about how you look. What size you are. If you're a 12, oh no, even though that's the average size of the American woman at this point. I mean, really, that's not. Anyway, don't get me started on that rant. I just
yeah,
think like this conspiracy between, fashion industry and even the department stores and the higher end ones, at least anyway, because they only want sample size models when they do fashion shows and things. And it's
yeah.
like, that's not who's buying your clothes. The models are not buying that stuff. The everyday woman is buying that. And they don't feel motivated to buy if they don't see themselves being able to wear those clothes. So anyway, that's a topic for another story.
Oh, sorry, going so far off, but really wanted to give an explanation to you look right, you're gonna get that respect immediately when you walk in the door. That's just how it is, and especially as a business owner and employees. Whenever I have people work with me, I want them looking polished. They
Mhm.
don't have to have 5 colors of eyeshadow on their eyes. It's not the point.
No.
I'd rather them have a clean face with a little lipstick and they can
Mhm.
have the hair pulled back in a ponytail, but just as long as it looks neat and put together. I also like when people go into jobs, employees go into jobs, freelancers, I like them to wear, they don't have to wear all black, but I like them to wear more like just sort of solid type like versus patterns, like them to wear more solids to fade into the background, because it's the focus isn't on them, the focus is on the work that they're providing for the client.
Right.
So clean, pretty, neutral, solid outfits, great. That's my preference for when we go on site.
Basically a polished look. I mean, that's what you need, so that you're not sloppy, you're not like disheveled.
Clean lines, you know, simple pantsuit's great. You don't have to wear something off the runway, but just as long as it's neat.
You're right, exactly. Like understated chic is one word that I would say that I learned when I was in Italy. Everybody dressed well. It's just a way of presenting yourself and saying, hey, I put the effort in to look good for myself and for you, because you're presenting yourself to the world when you dress well as well, right? Okay, there goes the child again. So what are tell me what your 5 go-to style or makeup items are that you cannot leave the house without.
Well, my style has evolved over the years. Coming from M.A.C, it was, you know, it was in my early 20s. I had like crazy hair, you know, the whole spiky kind of thing, big earrings, like lots of eyeshadow, double lashes, everything, you know, and it was really over the top. And so as I've matured and as the time has gone on and as I've grown in my business, I really go to more simple type things. And it's more or less because I'm really busy. So I need to pull everything together really quickly. So my go-to, just really quick, great outfits would be black pants or black leggings, ballet slippers. I love long jackets that have clean lines to them. I like crisp blouses, and definitely never leave the house without earrings or my rings. And in terms of makeup, it's always just a clean face, always mascara, always eyebrows, lips, a little cheek. And then in terms of hair, it's just, you know, either up in the bun or blown out straight, just really neat, nice and neat. So those probably more than 5 items.
It's perfectly fine because there's style.
Always a great handbag too. You always have to have a great handbag.
That's so true. And so you worked at M.A.C just like I did. So I know you heard this like a million times a day like I did. Like, what do you say to the women that say, oh, I just want to look natural? Like, even if you're looking natural, you still have some makeup on. So it's no, you're natural, you're just nothing. Nothing's there, right?
When people say to me, I want to look natural, I actually had a client earlier today. She was, you know, she's getting to be more of a mature age, just like myself. And I found that the most important thing is skincare. And my mother wasn't a big makeup wearer, but she was huge on skincare. And up until the day she died, she literally had like no wrinkles on her face because she
that's so awesome.
Such good care of her skin. So anyways, I think that skin is very important for a natural look.
Right.
You can't apply makeup to skin that hasn't been prepped. So it's much like if you have a piece of wood, you're not going to go and paint it without sanding it first. You just sand it down and then you paint it. Just like your face. Create your palette. So the most important thing to do for a natural look is skincare.
Yeah, because your makeup is only going to look as good as the condition of your skin. Like, you know, you can't make we're not magic people, right? Like, we can't make something go away that's not, you know, that was already there. We're just there to give you a better version of.
Also, like this really common misconception that airbrush makeup is a cure-all. That's not. It's not your eyes. I know. I don't know how many times, you know, and at this point, you know, and maybe I'm just jaded. It's become such a turn off when I get these emails from clients. I want airbrush makeup.
Right.
Do you know what airbrush makeup is? Do you know how it wears? Have you worn it before? Do you just think that it's just going to make you flawless for 12 hours plus. Okay, so let me just break it down real quickly here for you. It is not a magic wand, okay? Airbrush makeup I use for a quick, easy makeup application when I have a talking head on camera for the news. I need to get them on real quick, and it's just a quick swipe over the face. It's not for longevity. As the face moves, the makeup doesn't move with it. It's airbrush, so it immediately sets to the skin. So what happens over like a couple of hours, it starts to separate. And the only way to touch it up is with an airbrush machine. Versus makeup, when we go and apply it with either a sponge or a brush, we powder if it ends up moving. That type of makeup is more movable with the skin versus airbrush is not.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I the same thing. I think the advent of like the housewives, the reality shows, because a lot of them get the airbrush, that it's like, oh, I want that. And a lot of times, if the way they apply it, and this is just me, I like to see people's skin. I don't want to have so much makeup on your face that you look like a mannequin or like there's nothing under there.
Right. I'll give you like sort of the insider track to the whole housewives look. And one of the reasons why their skin looks really flawless and they think, oh, it must be the airbrush. It's not just the airbrush makeup. And some of them don't even use airbrush makeup. It's just, that's what people think. Oh, it must be airbrush.
Right.
It has a lot to do with the way they're lit for television. With television, you have to put on even more makeup. Right. So in real life, that makeup that you see on TV looks crazy. In real life. It's a lot of makeup. Like when you see them walking down the street, it's like, it's not, she looks pretty, it's whoa makeup.
Right.
It's a lot.
It is.
So there's actually a process. So these housewives, they have invested time and money in their skin, first off.
Yep.
I would say on average, these women probably spend at minimum $5,000 a month on their skincare regimen.
Wow.
So their skin is already a nice smooth palette. So what happens is we go through and we do skincare, we do concealer, we do foundation, we'll do a swipe with the airbrush, and then we'll go in and do the color. We'll do another swipe with the airbrush. We'll add airbrush blush, we'll add airbrush highlighter. There are many layers to this flawless look, but I'll tell you, in real life, it's not the prettiest.
No, I mean, I've had that when I've done photo shoots, and it's like, to look at my face after, like you said, walking down the street, it's like, oh my God, like it did look crazy, but it looks awesome in the pictures because that's what it's supposed to
be. And so that makeup is also in conjunction with the lighting and the way everybody's lit. It's like, oh, you get this nice flawless look, it's like everything's perfect. So the everyday woman is like, well, I want to look like so-and-so, off Real Housewives. And it's like, okay, the best way to achieve this look is we got to, we're not even going to do the makeup the way their makeup is done for TV. We have to start with the skin. We have to start very minimal.
Right.
We're going to give you a flawless look that's going to last all day. But it's not going to be that because you're going to look crazy.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is educating people because they feel like, that just because they see it on TV, that's how it is. No. And then we're probably going to get some bad emails from people like, you shouldn't have told them all of that. But whatever. I mean, that's the truth. And people need to know that that's not real life. Well, I
like to set my client up right. And so when I get these, and I need to manage expectations.
Exactly.
As a business owner, I want to be able to provide them with what they want.
Right.
But in order for me to do so, I need to also let them know how the process works. I need to educate my client and manage our expectation for it. So
that is so true. Yeah, because it is. Yeah. Anyway, we won't go down that rabbit hole either.
Right. Touched on that. Next.
So if you could wave a magic wand, what would you change or add to your wardrobe that you don't already do now or don't have access to?
Alterations.
Right. Yeah.
Like a magic wand, altered, because let's face it, I have a nice body. I really, I'm proportioned. And although I'm proportioned, it still is hard for me to get things off the rack because
Right.
I've worked so hard in the gym, so I have like a tinier waist, and then I have kind of more meat in the thighs and everything. So it's like
Right.
if I could have anything, it would just be an immediate magic wand to have my wardrobe altered.
That,
And
yeah.
as a stylist, don't you is that like maybe like the number one thing though for styling purposes is making sure your clothes fit properly?
Yeah, and a lot of people don't realize, like, even when you're looking at something in the, say, the window or on in a magazine or something like that, and it's very tight fitted or it looks perfect, but it's actually pinned 1,000 times in the back.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
and
that's the trick. In
yeah,
all the catalogs, it's like, they put the dress on and it's loose in these areas, and then they just grab it in the middle and put the big clamp on it, and there you go. So it gives it's
it's
a
so
misrepresentation.
true.
So that's another thing. I have a lot of vendor friends that do styling, and they're like, oh, these women, they don't understand that, this is how it is for catalogs, and we're going to have to get this altered, and, so whatever.
I mean, and basically, a tailor is your best friend. Literally, you can take a garment that will just fit average on anybody, and then be able to have it look like literally someone made it for you. And it's just small tweaks, a little bit in the hem, a little bit in the side, a little taper here, like, and it just makes everything look awesome. Sometimes it can be a little pricey, but again, it's worth it if it's going to be something that you love, it fits well, and you get a lot of wear out of it. And I have to tell people.
Okay, not to like bring her name up, but Kim Kardashian. Okay, I know, right? Kanye actually, was the one who instilled into Kim that having a full-time on-site seamstress was the
Mm,
wardrobe.
right.
Unfortunately, all of us can't afford that type of thing, but she's basically the one that has now understands that having alterations can essentially give you 5 pounds off your whole look because if
Exactly.
it's properly, it gives you a slimmer appearance.
And even adding things, like one thing I love to do is add an unexpected detailing to a garment. Like I love putting lace on the hem of a dress, or adding I don't know, a pocket where there wasn't one or something, where so it looks totally different from what I even remember I wore this dress from the Limited back in the store because I was shopping that day, and they were like, "Oh my God, that doesn't look like how we have it." I'm like, yeah, now it's my design because I loved being able to make it different so it doesn't look like the 50 other people that got that dress there.
Right. I have a friend that she'll get inexpensive pieces and add things to it. And it's just like, oh, wow, where'd you get that? Well, I got this at Forever 21. I don't remember seeing that at Forever 21. All these beads and everything all over it. It's incredible what she's done. But yeah, so
Yeah.
that's what I wish I had a magic wand alteration.
Yeah, in a way, I think that would be nice too. I mean, let's just be honest. Or have a full-time seamstress that just comes to your house and like, oh, okay, takes it away.
Wouldn't that be great? Full-time seamstress, full-time driver.
Right.
That's goals, 2018 goals.
Exactly. Exactly. So now you're a mom like me, and your kids are older like mine too. So any advice to women out there building a business with kids and, developing your brand that you think would help?
Um, Developing your brand, I would say have a clear picture of what type of client you want to go for. And I found I realized this pretty quickly and pretty early on. I was throwing a studio function. This was years ago, and I was thinking, well, I don't have a huge budget, and I do want to do like a wine tasting or a wine serving, that type of thing. Maybe I'll just get some barefoot wine.
Right.
And I had a sommelier, like a actual bartender, tell me, this is your launch party, right? And I'm
Mhm.
like, yeah, don't do that. You, need a label, you need a good label wine.
Right.
And so, you know, that because he's like, who are you catering? What is your clientele? And I'm like, well, higher end brides and, you know, well-known Loudon people, whatever, in the town. He's like, do you think they drink barefoot wine? And I'm like, probably not. So it was like a wake-up call right there. It was like,
Yeah.
you got to cater to where you want your brand to be. So just really identify where you're going with your business and stick with that. Stick with
Yeah.
that, those guidelines.
Yeah, those small details that make a big difference that people notice that we probably wouldn't
Right.
necessarily think about right off the top. But it's like, yeah, if you're going for a more luxury upscale client, barefoot probably isn't the way to go, even though there's nothing wrong with it. I actually love barefoot Prosecco. But if you're catering to people who are in, you know,
I
the
watch that back
yeah,
regularly.
yeah, you want to
But
like,
for a launch party,
yeah.
and you know, to a launch party and to show off my brand and my business,
Mm-hmm.
that wasn't the right fit.
No, it's a teachable moment. What can we say, right? And that's good to share that because, you know, we always tend to think about budgeting and like, oh, we don't want to spend maybe too much if we don't have to. But it's like, no, if you want clients that are in that level, you got to go the extra mile for it. And they notice those small things because they're going to be like, well, if she does this for her launch party, how much greater is she going to treat me as a client?
Right. Right.
Yep.
Exactly. So it's those small things that really add into the big picture.
Yeah, for sure. So do you have any events that are coming up, and also share your website and where people can find you and all the awesome things you're doing in the world?
Well, right now I don't have any events that I'm speaking at or any type of classes I'm doing right now. I'm just kind of knee deep in everything at the station and
Right.
you know booking for events and so forth. But you can definitely visit my website. It's victoriastiles.com, and Stiles is spelled like Julia Stiles, Stiles. And I also share Insta stories on my Instagram. It's at Victoria Stiles, and you can follow me on Twitter at Victoria Stiles, and also on my Facebook page at Victoria Stiles. At Victoria Stiles across the board.
Awesome. Do you have any last minute advice that you want to share before we conclude the interview?
My biggest advice is in terms of your overall hair or makeup appearance is to keep it simple. It's the basics that make the biggest statement.
Yeah, that's so true. Because there's always some trend that comes along, even in makeup. You know, there's always fashion, obviously, but even in makeup, it's like this particular technique or this particular look or this particular color, and it's just like, you know, you sort of just your eyes start glazing over when people start talking about it because it's just like, why do you really need that? I mean, as an everyday look, you don't need to do all of that. Maybe for a special occasion, maybe.
Some feather brows and, you know, what was the other? Oh, I saw this other Instagram trend the other day where people putting like glitter on their tongues. And I'm like,
what is the purpose of
I like just can't even go there. Okay. Move away from Instagram trends.
that?
Stick
Yeah.
to the basics. Keep it simple, clean, pretty. You'll make a great statement.
That's awesome advice. Well, it's been as always, a joy talking to you, and I'm so excited for everything that you're doing and everything you're up to in the world. And thank you so much for taking time out to talk to me today and for sharing so much wisdom with everybody that's watching, because truly, yeah, what would they do without us?
Well, thank you so much for having me on. I was really excited when you contacted me. I was like, oh, yay, I want to share info. That'd be great.
Yeah, I mean, really, you're such an awesome person, and I've always admired all of the things that you do, and you're just such a classy person. You know, I just admire you so much.
Oh, thanks. We'll right back at you.
Well, thanks so much, and we'll be talking to you soon.
Okay, bye.
Bye. Bye.